Well, that's a nice segue to the other and last topic I'd like to tackle is 2028. I mean, there has been some speculation, and I don't know how much of it is driven by the media, that there will be a primary in 2028, and it will bring in Rubio and Vance basically fighting for that mantle, and that Trump has this impish impulse to fan that rivalry. Jim, I want to ask you first because, again, you work for a conservative newspaper. I would imagine these conversations happen every day in the newsroom. What is your sense of how much that is sort of confabulated, that whole rivalry narrative, and how much do you think that there is a prospect for a real fight?
Well, ironically, the two of them get along pretty well, given that they're sort of in each other's way in terms of their ambitions. Rubio has said that he would support Vance if Vance ran for president. You know, I actually think Rubio is not behaving very much like a candidate, but he is the next best positioned person for Vance, other than Vance. I think the problem is, unless Trump and Vance have a rift, which is something you can never rule out with Trump, or if Trump just decides he thinks Rubio is a better candidate, I think the set of political conditions that would make it inviting for Rubio to run would mean that he wouldn't be very well positioned for the general election. And conversely, I think if we're not talking about Iran anymore, if that war is over, I think Vance will be much better positioned to take some credit for that, and 2028 will look better. But I do think people will try to run against Vance in the actual primaries. I think the contest between Vance and Rubio, the part of it that is real is that for Trump, there's going to be a competition of sorts for Trump's favor, and Iran may play a pretty big role in that. So when Trump wanted to go into Iran, Rubio was much more out front in defending the war than Vance was, although Vance, for the most part, did play the good soldier role. But you could tell that Rubio's heart was in it quite a bit more, as you might expect. Then when it came time to maybe do a deal and wind things down, Vance was out front much more, and Rubio, while he didn't disparage the diplomacy in any way, he didn't seem as enthusiastic about it. So Vance, in that moment, had an opportunity to reconnect with his base without getting crossways with Trump. But, obviously, international events can sometimes take on a life of their own, and when you start these things, they're not so easy to stop, I think, as the administration is perhaps finding out. So obviously, your deal has to work. You have to be able to walk away at some point. If it's just bomb negotiations, bomb negotiations, bomb negotiations until 2028, that's probably not going to do very much for anybody politically. But there's definitely a feeling that the future of the Republican Party, its direction, will be on the ballot in the 2028 primaries. And even if we don't see a Vance-Rubio contest, which people, I think, are more wishing into existence than actually the case, there will be other people with other views on who want to really turn the page, not just on Trump personally, but on some of the areas in which Trump is a little different than a conventional Republican. They want to turn the clock back on that.
Yeah.
They're going to have some candidates of their own, and we're going to have to see how they do. Trump himself was obviously able to destroy anybody with those types of aspirations. Can Vance do that? Well, we'll find out, I suspect.